Fish and chips. You've definitely heard of it, right? Maybe you've even had it. But this dish, it's a whole lot more than just some fried food. Today, we're going to unwrap the incredible story of how this super simple meal became this massive cultural icon. I mean, think about it. It's just fried fish and fried potatoes. It seems so simple. So, how on earth did that become a powerful symbol for an entire nation? That's the big question we're diving into. Okay, so before we get into the whole history, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. What exactly is a classic plate of fish and chips? Let's break it down. All right, so at its heart, you've got this beautiful piece of flaky white fish, we're usually talking cod or haddock, that's dipped in a simple batter and fried till it's perfectly golden and crispy. And of course, it's served with those thick cut potatoes. But the whole thing is really brought together with the essentials: a good shake of salt, a big splash of malt vinegar, and maybe a dollop of tartar sauce or even mushy peas. And yeah, about those chips, this is a super important point, especially for anyone listening outside the UK. When we say chips, we mean these thick, glorious, fluffy on the inside, crispy on the outside fried potatoes. Okay? We are absolutely not talking about those thin, crunchy things you get in a bag. In Britain, those are called crisps. Trust me, it's a very, very important distinction to make. So where did this quintessentially British meal even come from? Well, the answer is probably not what you think. It wasn't just invented one day. Nope. It's actually a story about two totally different food traditions brought by immigrants that just happened to find each other. You can really think of it like a perfect culinary marriage. On one side, you have the tradition of frying fish in batter. That was brought to Britain by Jewish immigrants. And on the other side, you've got the whole idea of deep frying potatoes, which came over from France and Belgium. And it was right there, in Britain, that these two brilliant, simple ideas met and created something magical. And its rise to fame is just fascinating. So back in the 19th century, you had fried fish and fried potatoes existing separately. But then, by the 1860s, someone had the great idea to put them together, and the first chippies started popping up. But the moment it was really cemented as a national treasure, that was during World War II. See, it was one of the only foods that wasn't rationed. In a time of so much uncertainty, getting a hot, familiar meal was a huge deal. It was comfort, it was normalcy, it was literally a source of national morale. Okay, so we know it was popular, but how does something go from just being a cheap takeaway meal to a full-blown national icon? What was the secret ingredient? Well, the answer really comes down to the working class. Think about the Industrial Revolution. You've got millions of people working long, hard hours in factories. What do they need? They need fuel. And fish and chips was the perfect solution. It was cheap, it was hot, and it was packed with energy. This meal literally fueled the people who were building modern Britain. No wonder it became such a huge part of everyday life. And that connection is just so, so deep. I mean, get this. As recently as 2003, there was this massive nationwide poll to find Britain's favorite dish. And guess what won? Fish and chips. It beat Sunday roast. It beat chicken tikka masala. It beat everything. That right there tells you this is way more than just a meal. And this quote really nails it. It is a symbol of tradition and national identity. And it's so true, right? It represents that working class pride. It's about summer holidays, eating by the seaside. It's a shared history all wrapped up in newspaper, or let's be honest, probably a cardboard box these days. But hey, let's be real. The UK isn't the only country that loves a good, hearty fried dish. This kind of comfort food is pretty universal. So let's take a little trip around the world and meet some of fish and chips' culinary cousins. You see this pattern everywhere. Head over to Argentina and you'll find milanesa with fries, this amazing breaded cutlet that people absolutely adore. In France, they have a direct equivalent, poisson frit. And in the US, you've got fried fish and fries, but with all sorts of different regional spices and sauces. It just goes to show there's something universally appealing about that perfect formula. Something crispy, something fried, and a side of potatoes. It's a winner every time. So, as we bring this all together, what's the big takeaway? We've seen that a simple plate of fish and chips is, well, it's way more than the sum of its parts, isn't it? Because what the story of fish and chips really proves is this incredibly powerful idea. Food tells the story of a people. A single plate of food can teach you about immigration, about the Industrial Revolution, about war, and about social class. It's an entire nation's history, right there in one simple, delicious meal. And that brings me to my final question for you. We've talked about how fish and chips tells Britain's story.
So I want you to think about it. What's the one food that tells the story of your culture?